In this video or tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use what is called a simple template. We're going to open up a simple template here in Photoshop called Checkered Chicory. Let's open it up. Now, a simple template is a one-layered piece of artwork that you can combine with your photos and you can create a collage. So we have our template opened, and now what I'm going to do is open up the photos I want to use. And it's Melissa 1 through 4. You can use any photos in a template. Now I'm working in Photoshop, but templates can also be used in Elements or Corel Paint and earlier versions of Photoshop and various other programs. Now I'm going to move these aside here so we can kind of see what's going on. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just drag in all my photos. So I'm just going to click on the background and drag it into my template. You can copy and paste them in, do whatever you need to get them in your document. Okay, so now I have in my template file on the bottom, layer 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 are my photos. Now, in order for a template to work, it has to be on top of the photos. So I can always just drag it up here because I'm working in a newer version of Photoshop. Or if you're working in another program and can't do that, we can always just go to duplicate layer. We'll name it template. And then drag the template layer to the top. Now what I'm going to do is position my photos inside of the frames of the template. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off all but the photo I want to work with. And I have that selected. And I can move it inside of this frame here. Now I think it's a little large, so I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I'm going to size this down. When I get it where I want, I hit the return, and I have that photo in. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the other photos. I want this picture up in this frame. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale. Crop it how I want, hit return. Do the same for the third photo. And you're just trying to get pleasing crops within the area. And then last but not least, I have my larger photo. This is about the right size that I want, but I would like to rotate it within the opening. Like so. In these areas where you can see the edges, I can fix those at a later time. Now, the problem is that we have overlapping images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take layer 4, which is the photo of the girl with the flower, and I'm going to drag it behind layer 1. But we still have overlapping images. So now we need to get rid of those. Now, if you're working in Elements or another graphics program that does not allow masking, you're going to have to do it a little different. So what we're going to do is make a selection and make sure we're on that photo, which is layer 1. Select inverse so that we're selecting this overlap area, and hit the delete key or choose cut. And now you'll see that the overlapping area has been deleted. Now I'm going to undo this and go back and show you how to do it much easier way in Photoshop. If you're working in Photoshop, the way to do it is make sure we're on the photo, make our selection exactly the same way we did before, And then I'm going to hit the masking tool at the bottom of the layers palette. And you'll now see that it is masked much the same way as we did it the other way. But the difference is with the masking tool, I can undo the chain, which is between the layer thumbnail and then the mask thumbnail. And what I can now do when I change to the move tool is I can move, right now I am moving the mask. I'm going to Command Z. If I click on the layer thumbnail, I can now move the photo within that mask without deleting or getting rid of any of the photo. I can change the cropping. In fact, I can even transform scale. I can even further reduce it or alter the size within that mask. So masking gives us more versatility. We're not ever actually getting rid of any of the photo. We can just hide basically the parts we don't want to see. So I'm going to put the link back on the chain, and we are going to mask the other photos. So now I have the second photo selected. We are going to once again make a selection, click the masking tool, and we'll do the same for layer 3. Because layer 4 is behind all these, you cannot see the parts of it that overlap. I'll move it up so you can see what I mean. You see the parts because it's above the photos. If it's behind the photos, it's not an issue, so we don't need to mask it. So now we have all our photos in. It took us no time at all. And now you can go ahead and finish it however you like. Now I am going to show you how I would finish this collage. Now I have a little bit of issue here, and I don't know if you can see it right here behind these two photos, where my photo wasn't quite big enough. So I'm going to hit the clone tool, make sure I'm on that layer. Click the Option key to show where to clone from, and just add a little bit to the photo. Means out it's the background and it's really not all that visible. I don't have to be too precise. And I did the same for the little bit behind there. Now what else I would like to do is go to Image, Adjustment to Hue Saturation. I'm going to colorize this photo. I'm going to darken it up a little bit, change the hue to match the background, saturation. I want it to blend into the background more, be more one with the background so that the other photos pop a little bit. Now what else I can do is I can add text. So I'm going to go to the text tool, click, and I'm going to type in Melissa. Now you'll notice that I don't see the actual text. That is simply because layer 5 that the text is on is behind the template and the photos. So I'm going to take that layer, drag it to the top, and now I can see it. Use my move tool. It's obviously not the right size. I'm going to go to the character dialog box. Alphabetical bold is good, but I'm going to make it 150 point. Change my tracking to 0, and I'm going to change the color by clicking on the color, selecting a color that's in the document already, maybe lightening it up. 150 didn't stay, we'll do that again. There we go. And it actually is still too large. You can also dynamically change the size of the type by transform scale. And I can go ahead and change the size that way. Now that I have it where I want, click return. I'm also going to add some more type, but just when this collage was done, so that if I look back on it, I'll know how old she was. So I'm going to go to Helvetica Light, go to about a 14 point. Let's go a little bit bigger to 18. Add some tracking to space it out a little bit, just a design decision. And I can put it kind of about here, I think looks good. I can go back to my layer palette. This is my October 12th layer. I'm just going to make it so it blends in the background a little bit. Once again, I could be done. The other thing I'd like to do is add a few shadows in. So I'm going to go to my large picture here in the frame, double click on it, click Inner Shadow, and as you watch this picture, you'll see a little shadow coming in. I can make it opacity a little farther, gives it a little depth. Click OK. And now by holding down the Option key and clicking on the effects, I can drag this effect to the other two layers. And they're all similarly shadowed, and they all tend to pop a little more. My last thing I want to do is take my Melissa, double click on it to the Layer Styles box, click Drop Shadow, and I'm going to put a soft drop shadow behind Melissa to give it some depth. Gives a little 3D quality to your collage. And our collage is now done. Now you always want to make sure you save as under a different name so that you don't wreck your templates, which can be used over and over again. And if you want a one-layered version of it, JPEG, to send online to get printed, you just save it as a JPEG. Now this template and others like it are available at smileyfacephoto.com/market, as well as an instructional step-by-step how-to guide that gives you further experience working with these simple templates, as well as layered templates, and even teaches you how to create your own one-of-a-kind collages. Thank you.